Guys, and welcome to another YouTube lesson. Today we're going to take a look at our next strategy of operations management. We're going to be looking at two syllabus dot points today. 1, 2, which is outsourcing and the advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing, and technology and making use of leading edge technology and the benefits too and the downsides of using established technology. I'll throw in this concept called bleeding edge technology as well, but I really want you to talk about leading edge and established in relation to technology. Now, strategies. Remember, as always, whether it's processes, influences, strategies, I want you to define the dot point, and very much so, tell me how it can be used as a strategy, step by step. Assume I have no knowledge. Probably an accurate assumption. But try and explain to that marker, that HSC marker, how can this be used as a strategy? And then if it's an evaluate question, make sure that you use those performance objectives, cost, speed, quality, etc., to be able to say how it's had, how it could have a good impact upon a business, or whether it's done poorly for your case study or case studies. Strategies. An operations strategy is something that the operations business function can use to improve the operating process, i.e. they can make the product a reduced price, performance objectives, or improved quality, performance objectives or criteria, or even reduce lead times, etc. The first one is outsourcing. Outsourcing is the contracting out of a business's activity. Some textbooks talk about contracting out of non-core business function. I'm a bit concerned about the non-core. That's often the case, but I'll give you an example of where that's not true. Bonds, a manufacturing business in Australia, its core business function was to manufacture, and to probably not just to sell direct to consumers. They distributed it to retail stores, so they were a manufacturer. If you contract out your non-core business function, that could be true with outsourcing, but bonds contracted out their core business activity. So avoid that non-core from one of the textbooks. I won't name it, but say outsourcing is the contracting out of a business's activity or activities. Now, there's BPO, FAO, and KPO. Represent KPO. FAO. BPO refers to business process outsourcing, and that's outsourcing some aspect of the business. FAO refers to finance and accounting outsourcing, which is becoming more and more popular. And KPO refers to outsourcing, getting from your business someone else to do it, knowledge process outsourcing. Now, business may wish to focus on its main activities and organise another business to provide a support service, such for transport, security, supply chain management, maintenance, etc., etc. How is this a strategy? Seen as a useful strategy because by outsourcing, it allows a business to free up resources to invest in other business activities, and can make the business focus on other aspects, do those well, and generate greater income. Now, there's some pros and cons of outsourcing. The syllabus even asks us, what are the advantages? Why would you recommend? Why would you want to see outsourcing happen? But also, what are those disadvantages? We'll get into those. Some advantages for the business to outsource include you get greater access to specialist knowledge and expertise because the function is their core business, definitely. More efficient methods can be used by those companies. They have specialist knowledge of relevant laws and regulation. I.e., you might be a carpentering business, a building business, a plumber or whatever. You're probably not an expert in HR, and therefore sometimes you might employ recruitment agencies who are and outsource the recruitment of your apprentices, of your workers. Better access to IT, technology, experience in solving complex problems, increased speed and quality of outputs. These are all advantages. Now, some downsides and disadvantages of outsourcing. Why don't you want to do it? Breakdowns in businesses outsourced will affect the entire operation. So if I'm Apple and I'm outsourcing to Foxconn, as I do, if their business starts to suck, there's some issues, it could really impact upon you. If another business, another downside, if another business is doing part of your initial business's work, you get a loss of control over quality. So you're not going to maybe meet that quality performance objectives. The dependability, the reliability, and even costs can go up sometimes. Can go down. That can be an advantage. But sometimes it doesn't mean it's cheaper. It just makes it easier. Now, loss of control may also be exaggerated with the business if they're located in a different country, because there could be this cultural incompatibility. It could be slower lead times because you've outsourced over to another part of the world and it takes a long time to get those products to your business. Talked about glasses last lesson or the lesson before, and if it was being made directly in Australia, it probably wouldn't take that long, but I'm pretty sure it's being made elsewhere. It's been outsourced, the manufacturer of these new sunnies. Ray-Bans are going to look pretty smick because they're prescription, they're $520, but you don't want to hear about that. But because it's being made elsewhere, manufactured elsewhere, that was outsourced by the optometrist business, then you'll find that it's going to take longer than if they'd done it themselves in Australia. All right, the next one is technology. All right, the next strategy that can be used. Technology refers to the implementation of new methods of computing, electronics, robotics that enables a business's operations to do things more quickly, more efficiently, and in less time. And you're going to like that definition. You need to make sure your definitions are smooth. Now, there are two main types of technologies, or three. Syllabus only says two. So I do want you to really talk about two, but it doesn't hurt to throw in this third one a little bit. But don't only talk about the one that's not in the syllabus. It's best to talk about the syllabus ones mainly. Now, first one we have there is leading edge, which is a new type of technology. The other one is established, which is an older technology. They're the two syllabus ones. The third one is this bleeding edge. It's one that's been made up by many of the textbooks. And it's like a play on words with leading edge, but so cutting edge, it cut me. It's making me bleed. All right, it's a very, very new, untested technology. I mentioned before Elon Musk with SpaceX and having rockets, a massive man crush on this dude, having rockets, being able to fly up and to land out at sea on barges, which are big sort of flat top ships, land there and be reused again after being maintained and fixed. It's unheard of. It's sort of science fiction come true. And that sort of stuff, you do 1 million of these projects and none will pay off. But the one that does can generate billions of dollars. So the two main ones are that established and new and leading edge. Now, business weighs the cost up. So you know what those ones are to start with. You know the established versus leading edge. They got to weigh up the cost of the upgrade to technology for the leading edge. It's going to be expensive to start with versus the long-term expected benefits. When making a decision about technology use, business should take into account some different factors. They are the speed of change taking place in that area. What are our competitors doing? The technology that we're saying competitors are using. The finances to be able to change the technology of your business. Can you get a loan? And also how long it's going to take to introduce the new technology. What training needs to occur as well. All right, leading edge. Why use it? Leading edge technology may be referred to as being at the cutting edge. One step further is that bleeding edge stuff. A business can incorporate leading edge technology will force its competitors to follow if they also wish to remain competitive. And if they implement it, leading edge, and their competitors do not, then that's how it's a strategy. In the short term, it will be often high initial capital outlay. It will cost money, and there will be issues related to retraining costs, financial costs, and so on. All right, but some inertia. However, in the long term and the medium term, it should generate cheaper cost per unit of production, may be better quality and will be of use. Established is the alternative. This type of technology has been tried and proven and is therefore very reliable and dependable, meeting that dependability performance objective. However, your competitors are likely using the same type of technology, and therefore it's probably not going to give you a competitive advantage against your rivals. But the advantage of established technology is that it is tried, tested, and works, and you can rely on it. And often technology can be a little bit, of an issue anyhow. But if you have established technology, it's something that tends to be pretty decent, pretty reliable, and you don't have to have that initial capital outlay. All right, guys, thanks again for listening, and see you next lesson. Goodbye.